Hi, my name's Tedrick Ratcliffe. I'm the Executive Vice President of Mississippi Forestry Association, and we welcome you today to a virtual field day. MFA has been serving as the voice of forestry in Mississippi since 1938. With more than 3,000 members statewide, we represent the diverse interests of the entire value chain of forestry. Our members, volunteers, and staff work collectively towards shared goals of landowner rights, member prosperity, environmental stewardship, and community understanding. We hope today that you'll find tools during the field day that you can take back and use on your farm. Thanks for joining in.
I am John Owl. I'm the Coordinator for Professional Logging Manager Program in the state of Mississippi. And what that does is we train loggers according to the Sustainable Forestry Initiative standard. And today we're going to be talking about stream crossings and SMZs and how they pertain to best management practices for water quality when you're doing operations on your property. Best management practices for water quality is something that forestry professionals follow to ensure that we're not polluting the streams of the state. It's crucial for us to keep sediment out of the stream. Now, most of the pollution from forestry operations is in fact sediment, and all the operations that we put together into a BMP manual are designed to keep sediment out of the water. The main difference between a temporary stream crossing and a permanent stream crossing is that a logger will put the stream crossing in on a temporary. There are several different types of stream crossing, and it's all really going to depend a lot on what the landowner wants, a lot on what the logger is capable of doing, and then a lot on what the actual situation is on the ground. If a stream is too wide, we're going to have to cross it a different way than if it's narrow, if that makes sense. But one thing about stream crossings is whatever goes into the stream has to come back out on a temporary crossing. So you just can't put poles in there, drive your skidder over top of it, and then just leave it there and go on, because that's a violation of the clean water laws of the state of Mississippi. Because you get built up there, you change the stream channel, and a lot of bad things can happen on down if you dam a stream up and leave it there without removing it. A lot of times, especially when you first cut, when a landowner first gets a piece of property he wants to cut the first time, the trails the logger makes to get the timber out is also going to be his access trails afterward. He can work with the logger to say, okay, I want these trails to go here, I want the sets over here, and I want the stream crossing here so I can have access later on. Then he'll improve those access areas, and then the next cut that happens, the logger just uses the same trail as opposed to making new ones. So the roads in essence are permanent, the crossings in essence are permanent, and we treat them a little bit differently than we do temporary features such as a trail or a temporary road. If you use a ford, all you're doing is ensuring that there's a solid base underneath the stream, and you can actually cross it while water is running across it. So instead of going over the stream, you're going through the stream, but since there's that solid base, you're not allowing sediment to enter into the stream and then get sent downstream to pollute areas further down. And so, but fords aren't that common in Mississippi just because a lot of the areas that we have don't have a solid bottom to get to. And so it's very difficult to put a ford in a real deep, muddy area because you can't get down to the ground. You're going to cause pollution, water pollution problems that way. But if you have the area, like here, it's a great way to cross this stream in this area because it's also, if you look back there, it's very deep. And the deeper a stream bed is, the harder it is to cross, obviously. The shallower it is, the easier it is to cross, and this is done very well. This is a well-designed and well-thought-out stream crossing for this particular area. Stream crossings are highly dependent on the individual stream you're trying to cross and where you're trying to cross it, if that makes sense. And so no two things are going to be identical. No two stream crossings are going to be identical. And you have to work with what the environment has given you. And so that's why this ford in this area works really well. When you cross a stream, you want to cross at a 90-degree angle through what we call the SMZ, or Streamside Management Zone. A streamside management zone is required, according to Mississippi BMPs, along all perennial waterways. All perennial streams are going to have some trees left that form a buffer between the stream itself and the operation. And what that buffer does is it slows down the water flowing over land and filters it out and cleans it before water hits the stream itself. Now, the minimum distance for an SMZ in the state of Mississippi is 30 feet. And we can also thin trees out of that SMZ, provided we're not disturbing the undergrowth. The undergrowth is what actually filters the water. The overstory keeps shade on the stream so it doesn't increase the temperature of that water. And on perennial streams, that's very important, because if you increase the temperature of the water by daylighting it, then you change the biotic structure of the stream and you polluted it according to the EPA. All right, now if this was a true intermittent stream, this has water in it now, if it's a true intermittent stream and it only flows a couple of months out of the year, then we can take all the trees out, provided we have sufficient ground cover there to still act as that filter coming in. When we first started this 20 years ago, people got this wrong. We weren't sure where to measure from that 30-foot distance. What it actually is the edge of the bank of the stream out. So the edge of the stream out on both sides in your operation. So you would have essentially a filter strip on both, going up and down both sides of the stream. And the reason why we want you to cross it at a 90-degree angle is we want to keep this filter strip intact. We can control water on a single road going straight. It's much harder to control it if we compromise all the filtration in this stream by cutting curves in these SMZs when we're crossing the stream. But one of the key things about the BMP manual is it is minimums. Okay, this is the least we expect. And we want folks to use, foresters and loggers and landowners, to use their knowledge of the land and their professionalism to make these decisions. If they think it needs to be wider, then make it wider. These are just minimums here. Because we have some soils in the state on the lush bluffs that you could have a 100-foot SMZ and it's going to cut right down through it because it's highly erodible. And so we need to make these decisions on the ground a lot better, saying, okay, well, I know the manual says 35 feet, but I need to make it 100 because I know what my soil is going to do. And it's very hard for someone like me who doesn't live on this property to come down here and know immediately how this soil is going to react after a rain. One of the biggest issues I've found in the past 20 years in dealing with forestry and logging and landowners is a lack of communication between all three groups. A lot of times a landowner, if he's not a County Forestry Association member or a tree farmer, may not have that basic understanding that he actually needs to deal with that logger directly. And probably the best thing that any landowner can do is find the services of a registered forester and also use the services of a qualified logger. Now, a qualified logger has gone through the SFI program, or the Professional Logging Manager program, and a lot of that training centers around BMPs and how to deal with landowners and how to deal with these issues that come up. Water quality issues, overcut issues, things like that. You know, and so we really need to improve the communication between all three groups. Most of the complaints that we get in the state about loggers tearing things up is nothing more than landowners not understanding what a logging job looks like when the loggers get done. I guarantee you the logger and the forester are doing the right thing. We have a 94% compliance rate with BMPs in this statewide, and that's loggers putting those BMPs in. We have a 94% compliance rate, so it's a 94% chance your logger's doing exactly what he should be doing. It's just the landowner may not understand what it takes to do that job.
I hope you've enjoyed your time with us today. We really hope that some of the tools and techniques that have been shared are things that you can take back and add value to your farm at home. Once again, I want to say thanks for your membership and your continued support of Mississippi Forestry Association.